Welcome to the Natalie and Thunder Campfire Council. No, I thought I'd start this thing off with a bang here. We're going to do a show today, and this is what's your name?
Natalie.
Natalie what?
Sunflower.
And I'm Roger Thunderhands. And we're here to talk to you in a tribal tradition, and we're going to also talk about some other things. Now, this is the first video I've done with my life partner in great love here and oneness. I call her my oneness because we think so much alike. Look at the camera now. Smile. See, she's a little bit nervous today because she hasn't been on camera before, but this is she'll get comfortable with it. So, Natalie, let the people know a little bit about you, besides you being my life partner. Let them know a little bit about your background. Just some general stuff, maybe where you lived or whatever.
Okay. Well, as I said, I grew up on the East Coast in Pennsylvania, and had a really nice, lovely childhood. I am not full blood. I have Italian ancestry. I have, going way back, I have roots to Iran and Afghanistan and Mongolia, and also Native American roots. My great-great-grandmother was Shawnee, Elizabeth Sundown. And so that propelled me when I was told that when I was 7. My grandmother showed me a photo of Elizabeth Sundown. I got on the road to discovery about the Shawnee people, the Shawnee tribe, and then that energy built, and I was finding myself and on the way to the Red Road, the Chantuluta Road, as the Lakota call it, and that I found myself living in New Mexico for 10 years. And then that just started a whole new chapter, experience, beauty, and a spiritual awakening in me that I've never ever experienced before.
And I'm going to jump in from time to time, and I don't want you to think I'm interrupting you or anything, but that's kind of where you came into contact with the tradition of the Sun Dance, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so you met some influential people there, or let's say some tribal people, who kind of adopted you into their lifestyle. And that was a very honorable thing for you to have gone through. And so you went through a period where you practiced the tradition of the Sun Dance, right?
I did. My uncle recognized the path that I was on, and he was a medicine man, very Robert Eaglehawk, even though he was Chiricahua Apache, and the Sun Dance is a Lakota ceremony, but Apache Sun Dance as well, other tribes Sun Dance as well. But it was Robert who recognized my heart, and one of the things he always said to me was, Sunflower, you never have to, it's not about how much blood you have, it's about what you do for the Native community, what you give of yourself, of your people, of other Native people, and so he knew my heart, and he got me on the path and opened a lot of spiritual doors for me, and that's when I was introduced to John Fastwolf, who was a Lakota, and he was from the Wombly Reservation up in South Dakota, and he was our Sundance leader up in Picaris in northern New Mexico. For me, it was for 8 years, even though I lived there 10, but that was a beautiful experience for me, something I'll never forget, something that is very personal for every Sun Dancer. Not something that you can speak about because it's a very, very sacred ceremony, and many people don't realize the level of sacredness. Even though some people, white Caucasian people that don't understand the ceremony, Some have called it savage. There's nothing savage about it, and that definitely is a white term, since Native people were called savages in history and probably still are.
Right, and so that brings up an interesting point that I think we could start this first show off talking about, and that is where your heart is, okay? And you brought up the point that, and even though we both have native blood, we're not full bloods, but we have native blood. Look at the color change in there on the, yeah, it's getting, that's all right. See, we're getting adjusted to the lighting here, and so you're liable to see some changes happening as we speak. But the interesting thing is that, and even the great medicine men have said that it's not really about your skin color, or it's not really about your blood, how much, whether you're a full blood or a half breed or a mongrel, or maybe you don't have any native blood at all. It's not really about that, is it?
No, it's really about your heart. It's really about where your heart is. I'm sure I've heard there people out there being native wannabes, but
you know what I always said about that? What's wrong with wanting to be a native?
Well, I get that.
You get that because
it's the best of the best.
Right.
Things were good when my ancestors and your ancestors walked this earth. There was great harmony. There was great balance. There was great richness. There was great wealth, not in legal tender, but wealth in spirit. And that's really very important to walk with, no matter how little or how great your blood is. It's certainly something to be proud of and something to represent. If you have that gift, you want to represent that in a very good way, in a very respectful way, in a very honorable way.
Did anybody ever tell you had beautiful eyes? How lucky am I? How lucky am I to have this beautiful woman sitting next to me? Ooh, you should feel the energy. It feels so good.
Excuse me.
So that's interesting, Natalie. So it's a very honorable thing that you went through, and a very serious thing.
Well, it's
and sacred, and a sacred thing. So that's all something that you can put into your quiver, right? Just like arrows, that makes you the person you are today, which is. I can honestly say that Natalie is one of the most kind-hearted, most peaceful person that I ever came into contact with. Beautiful heart. That's why it's so hard, man. I keep trying to instill this warrior energy in her, and she does have that warrior energy. But I'm a little bit more blunt and a little bit more, shall I say, calloused, or not calloused. That's not the right word. But anyway, you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm instilling. We practice things together. Okay, so we do the martial arts and we do Tai Chi, and we like to go out shooting. That's fun. And we ride the Harley out to different places here in the wild and woolly west of Nevada, the desert of Nevada. So it's pretty harsh out here. She's made an adjustment coming here, and we've had a great time. So we're going to be talking about things that are relevant to everybody's interests, okay? And we're going to be talking about things like the deep state and the shadow government. We're going to be talking about spiritual things. We're going to be talking about martial arts, Tai Chi, yoga, relationships. That's right. You speak up now. She's got such a soft voice, you know. That's I got to try to get her to be more out front. No pun intended. No, I don't even want to go there. So anyway, we kind of our relationship, just a little bit about how we met, and our relationship kind of got nurtured on online with a group called the Campfire Council, and we're going to say hello to everybody because I am the creator of the Campfire Council, and Natalie's a moderator on there, and we want to say hi to our friends Rick and Kay. And
Hi. Hey guys.
who else?
Oh, Rob
Rob
and Matt and Fozzie
and Fozzie,
and
all the rest.
yeah.
So, the Campfire Council, in the name of this video, Natalie and Thunder's Campfire Council, is patterned after maybe what you would see in the late 1800s in Arizona with Geronimo and the great warrior woman Lozen. And coming from that tribal mindset, of like sitting around the campfire and talking about just bullshitting about what went on that day and what we have to look forward to. And I'm sure they talked about planning raids.
Oh, what needed to be done.
What needed to be done.
They were being dogged every day, so.
So then we know we know, both of us, from our histories and from studying the history of, say, the tribal people, indigenous people of this nation, that it's been a history of genocide. And so there's no love lost between us and the government. But speaking of the government, I mentioned earlier that we're going to talk about the deep state. We recently watched a video.
Mm-hmm.
And one of many, because we have an intel base, okay, and we're not naive as to the things that are going on in this country. And so we've been watching some stuff on the deep state and the shadow government by an excellent investigative reporter, Jake Morphonios, with Blackstone Intelligence. Stuff that people should really be made aware of, right? I mean, what are your feelings about that? I mean,
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm active on LinkedIn. It's the only social media that I'm on. Purely for I'm a photographer, freelance photographer, so I post a lot of my images on there. Excuse me. But today I specifically posted part 1, part 2 out of 3 of Jake's videos on the deep state, explaining in depth what they are, who they are, and what levels that trickles down to. The shadow government, the deep state, and then it trickles on down. It's Mother Nature playing with us back here, the color. Anyway, I posted it on LinkedIn today because I really feel that this information needs to be nationally, internationally known to every citizen of every country that is being taken over by the deep state, by the shadow government, of countries that are refusing to do whatever they state they should do. It's all about they want oil. The United States government wants oil. Other countries, resources. This has happened before, and just locally a year ago, up in North Dakota, with the DAPL, no DAPL, where Native people did not want an oil pipeline running through their sacred land, their sacred areas where their ancestors have been buried, and it was a nightmare. And that's when Obama was in president, and they were asking for help, and Obama clearly said, let's sit on it for 2 more weeks. Meanwhile, men, women, young children, elders were being carried off, dragged, thrown to the ground, aced, physically hurt, and our president didn't do anything about it. And now we have Trump in office, and Trump's not doing anything about it either. There's a repetitive of history that's going on in this country with absentee presidents, with presidents that do not care about the citizens. All they care about is how much money they're making, how much wealth they can make when they already have numerous amounts of wealth, and they just really don't care about the citizens, and they're going into these countries and playing havoc with the economy, with overthrowing their presidents, killing people by the thousands, and it's getting worse. And I just checked my notifications on LinkedIn and saw 4 likes on it. Now, some people did make comments, but that is not enough. This intel needs to be passed around to hundreds of thousands of people, of citizens of this country. And if the citizens of this country think that this is untruth, or that that we're going insane, or we're just trying to be
conspiracy theorists, tin hat foil wearers.
Yeah, you're very, very wrong.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can't afford to be ignorant. You can't afford not to be informed. You can't afford to be unaware, because you might think that all of this is going on in Syria and in Palestine, but as Jake said, or someone said, the wolves are at this door. Why? Because this is the United States government. This is the CIA. This is the deep state, the shadow government. This is the
something that people don't know about.
Right.
The normal people out there do have no clue as to what's going on. They just listen to the mainstream media. They are force-fed propaganda and lies, and they don't really realize how critical it is for the safety of their families, okay, and their loved ones, and that is of supreme importance. They don't realize how the deep state is working on the erosion of our civil rights in this country. We look at other countries and think, oh, that's over there, but it's not over there. It's here. I think I was the one that said the wolf at the door in my last video.
You probably did.
Yeah. The wolf is at the door, and people are unaware of this fact, okay, that the wolf's going to blow the door down here real soon, and freedom is going to exist no more, like our First Amendment and Second Amendment rights to bear arms, and Fourth Amendment rights against illegal search and seizure and that type. That's all going down the tubes, people. And they've done it in other countries, so what makes you think they're not going to do it here? So this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about.
And go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, it's just not enough to be talking about it. And I'm not exactly saying, we need to overthrow our United States government, even though, because that's what they do to other governments, so that wouldn't be a good thing to do. But I hear people saying, they're waiting on our president to do something, and I hear people saying that we need to do something, and I certainly am one to say we need to act on it, because we're just getting lip service, and we're getting very different all the time. Nothing is consistent that's coming out from mass media. Nothing's consistent that's coming from Trump. And we all know this. There's a couple of things we all know, and if you haven't, you will now, and that is when president-elects are running for office in this country, they make a lot of promises. They're going to do this, they're going to do that. There's probably a list from the very first president of the United States until now. And none of them pull through. It's bullshit.
It's politics as usual.
It's politics as usual, making all kinds of promises and making them look like, they're going to be the best president ever. Come on. I mean, really?
And, and the other thing is, too, now I understand why a lot of people wouldn't want to vote for Hillary and vote for Trump. And we're not, let us put this out here right now, we're not political. We don't vote. We're not. Maybe we did in the past till we got a clue, you know. And then when we found out some of these people maybe we voted for were like,
The Antichrist.
yeah, almost. So, you know, it's really imperative that you withdraw from that system, because that's a farce, and start thinking about other ways that we can make a difference out here. So, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about spiritual things. We're going to talk about fun things. Hell, we might even talk about riding Harleys or photographs, because Natalie is a great photographer. What's your website again?
Natalie sunflowerphotography.com.
Okay. And if you want to go to mine, it's rogerthunderhands.com. We're a team, and we're going to be working together. We're going to be doing some shows together. And we want to say, did we say hello to, yeah, we did that already, to the Campfire, yeah. This is probably the first time they've seen us together, so that'll be a big thrill, I'm sure. Anyway, huh?
May I say something?
Yeah.
Again? Was in the back of my mind. You know, when you're fed lies for so long, and the citizens of this country have, and it's just been way too long. People start to believe those lies. When you're fed lies for too long, you believe those lies. And I get and I understand that listening to these videos of Jake, or listening to our videos, listening to what we have to say, you might think that we're the ones that are lying, but we're the ones telling the truth. We're the ones that know that this is a gift to live here on this earth, this planet. We're the ones that know that nothing should be taken for granted. The wildlife, our skies, our earth, our plants, our trees, our forests, our mountains, our rivers, our streams and oceans. This is all a part of the great circle of life. This is all a part of what is sacred. This is all a part that this is where we live. So we're not the liars, okay? The liars are the government. The liars are our presidents. The liars are our senators. The liars are our Congress. The liars are the ones that propagate propaganda, and that's pretty much the deep state and
the media.
And the media.
Controlled by the...
Huge media. For all these years, listening to things on the news when I was a child about how bad
different countries were...
Leaders of different countries.
Demonizing
leaders of different countries. Spin doctoring, that's a really good thing. Our government's very good. They should win a medal for spin doctoring, because they've been doing it about Russia, about Putin all these years. And look what they've done. They've turned most of the people in this country against Russia, against Putin. You know what? We should be so fortunate to have a president like Putin, because he shows that he truly cares about his people. He protects his people. He cares about his people. That's the first thing that he thinks about, is protecting his people, okay? And what he doesn't do, that the United States government does quite well, okay, is genocide their people. Okay,
right.
And
With
if it's
chemtrails.
and if it's not us in this this country, it's other people in other countries. Mass genocide going on. Why? Because our government wants things. They want oil. They want land. Does that sound familiar to all the Native people? Because it sounds very familiar to me. And
you know what
that's
it's like? It's like, when remember the schoolyard bully. Remember those guys that to push people around and stuff like that? And they would go in there and they'd beat the crap out of somebody, and then when it came time for the teachers to go, they'd point at some innocent kid and go, no, he did it. He did it. And that's exactly, that's the exact mentality of our government. That's the exact mentality of the West. It's like demonize Putin, demonize other heads of state like Assad and demonize these people and make them look like they're the ones that did this shit, when really it was all instigated and fomented by the good old U.S. of A., CIA, intelligence communities. So yeah, we're hip to that. We're hip to that, and we're going to be doing more on this. This is a good start for a video. I'm glad you could join me today.
Where else would I go?
I don't know.
I'm in the middle of dinner here.
That's right. We got something cooking on the oven here on the stove. We got some artichokes going. Can't wait for those. And so we're gonna just cut this one short today. But this is like a little preview of what you might be seeing in the future. So. Yeah, Natalie and Thunder's Campfire Council. I like the ring of that. We might just, it could be, then we'll put in, we'll do the videos and then we'll put in the stuff we talked about in the title or whatever. Okay, well, let's leave it there and we'll just say adios at this point. And until next time, this is Thunder and...
Blessings, everyone. Stay safe.
Natalie... Thunder, Natalie. Never mind. Okay, we're out of here. Later.